The most anticipated race of the summer is finally here. The 153rd running of the Travers Stakes. It's Onorato Company at Saratoga Race Course. We're live at the Horseshoe Inn Bar and Grill right across the street from the track. We've got Dan Tordjman. We've got Billy Blake. We've got your expert analysis and your picks to win some money.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Travers Day.
To win some money today. Hang on, everybody. Let's get things going on Onorato Company.
This is Onorato Company, brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Shout out to all of our local business partners here on Onorato Company, of course, headed up by Alpenhaus. Andy Heck, Katie Osborne, big supporters of the program. We greatly appreciate that. Novice Clothing Company in Albany. They've got the big setup bachelor party going on at the track today. Good day, good weekend to do it. Nick and Garrett Bernardo, their brother Jake Bernardo, getting married soon, so they'll have one heck of a time at the track. They're here to hang out with us as well. All right, Travers Day, but it's one of 5 Grade 1 races. Of course, everybody wants to talk mostly about the Travers, but let's do some of this in order, guys, and then we'll build up to the Midsummer Derby itself. And the first Grade 1 on the card today is the 5th race of the day, and that is the Forgo. Now, look, to me, we're going to talk about one horse, but maybe we can find a horse that sneaks in as second or third to win our people some money behind that 1-2 favorite Jackie's Warrior. Is it Jackie's Warrior's race, Dan, to simply win here?
I think so. I mean, really, there is no blemish. There's nothing you could say. I mean, the horse is 5 for 5 at Saratoga. Yeah. Is the fastest horse in the race. I don't really see any. I mean, like he was geared down in the Vanderbilt. There are people who I've heard like knee deep in snow a little bit, but this is one where I think not to like be, just go with the crowd. But I don't know. I don't have anything creative. Billy, you got anything?
No, I mean I don't like betting favorites in general, and this is a race where I can't even come up with an alternative to Jackie's Warrior.
Yeah,
I guess a cold exacta would be Jackie's Warrior on top with Baby Yoda. That's another horse who loves running at Saratoga. Yeah. The one horse in this race, 8-1 on the morning line. I might play just a straight exacta with Jackie's Warrior on top, hoping to make some money that way.
Yeah. And there's I guess if you look at it from a pace scenario, are they going to let Jackie's Warrior just go to the lead? Will someone press him? Knee Deep in Snow didn't break well last out, but Knee Deep in Snow has speed, could potentially put a little bit of pressure on. Pipeline is another horse who's got a little bit of early pace. And if they all go, if they try to, give Jackie's Warrior a hard time, and I'm not sure they can, even if they're full throttle, Cody's Wish, the 5 horse, would be my exacta to round things out.
Chris, it's August. We don't need any knee deep in snow.
We got enough of that, even in sometimes October. You see Jackie's Warrior there, 4 for 4 at Saratoga. It's got to be 5 for 5 today. All right, let's move on to the 8th race. So you get a little bit of a break if you're just eyeing those graded stakes races. The Alan Jerkins Memorial. We've got a heavy favorite here, too, in Jack Christopher at 6-5. Won the Woody Stevens. Third, though, in the Haskell. Yeah. How does this race, Billy, set up for Jack Christopher?
I get why he is the favorite because he's turning back to one turn after trying the Haskell earlier this summer at Monmouth. I think this is a race where there is plenty of alternatives into this race who I really like. Okay. I think Jack Christopher will be forwardly placed in the race just like he always has. But there's a lot of other horses who are speed in this race. And I think it's going to be a meltdown. I like Howling Time, the 3 horse in here for Dale Romans. This is a horse who's turning back in distance. I root for chaos, and I think you're going to get chaos in this race.
So you like Howling Time to win?
Yes, Howling Time is a horse that might be forwardly placed. I'm hoping that this horse kind of drops back, let some other horses go to the lead. And then I want John Embrial calling this horse last on the backstretch. Right. And then I just hope turning for home, all the speed horses kind of cancel each other out. So Howling Time for me.
Dan, Howling Time?
Yeah, he brings something interesting in terms of where a horse is at that point of the day. On a lot of these days, we see speed being really good, and it's hard to make up a lot of ground late. So that's my concern with Howling Time. But we'll see. But at that point of the day, the track might even out a little bit.
Here's one quick note on Howling Time. Tim Wilkin.
Oh, no.
For the
Great.
Times Union
covers
the races like nobody else here says scratch. Thank you,
Well,
Ash.
don't worry. I've got another long shot for us. We can play.
Okay, who's that?
I like Happy Jack. So another long shot. This one's 15-1 in the morning line. His 2 wins have come sprinting. When he's gone longer, he hasn't run as well. A slight cutback here for Happy Jack. And I do think in terms of pace, there are going to be a couple of horses that go forward early. Conager on the rail is an interesting one, improving with speed. Gunite is a horse who won last out, wire to wire after a pretty bad break. It's a really impressive effort last out for Gunite. So Gunite might take a little bit of support. And I think they give Jack Christopher all he can handle. He might still just at this distance be unbeatable. But if it's not Jack Christopher, I like Happy Jack. I think we get a perfect trip. And Flavian Pratt up for the first time over Rafael Bejarano. I don't get into jockey stuff too much, I'm like, well, whatever. Most of these jockeys that are here are really freaking good, right?
Yep.
Flavian Pratt over Rafael Bejarano. That's a major upgrade. That's like, upgrading from Julius Randle to Kevin Durant. So that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Fan.
Yeah. As you could tell, right? Not at all.
We've got a Mets and a Yankees fan side by side. Although I don't know, did the Dodgers steal your heart with the time you spent out west?
Not totally.
Okay.
Not totally. But it was a cool stadium to check out.
Yeah,
but no,
beautiful.
still a Yankees fan at heart
right.
now. Yeah.
All right. Well, they just split a regular season series, so nobody's got the bragging rights.
That's right.
Yet. Maybe it comes in October in some form. All right, let's take a quick break here on Onorato and Company. When we come back, we'll get into the rest of the card. Of course, the Travers breakdown and picks still to come. You're watching Onorato and Company on News Channel 13's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
Fire, water, smoke, mold, and sewage cleanup. Reconstructing your home after a disaster can be both stressful and demanding. KPM Restoration will work quickly to restore your home. We'll help provide complete damage restoration to your property.
My problem was that I was traveling. There was a leak in my basement. We called KPM. They came in at 9 o'clock at night and were there till 2 o'clock in the morning until the problem was solved.
KPM Restoration. We'll get you back to normal.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
All right, we're back here on Onorato and Company, live from the Horseshoe Inn Bar and Grill on Travers Day. 5 Grade 1 races today. It's Chris Onorato. I'm joined by Dan Tordjman from America's Best Racing, Billy Blake from WGY here locally. You hear him on the radio, and a horse racing aficionado for a long time. You've worked out west for a number of groups in horse racing, Billy, so your expertise is certainly not, valuable here. All right, we've already talked Forgo. We've talked the Jerkins. What I can say about the Jerkins is that I hope we get Jack Christopher and Happy Jack 1, 2, in whatever order in the home stretch, just to hear John Embrial calling it. I guess you want Jack. I guess you want Happy Jack Christopher.
Exactly.
Is really what you want. 1, 2. Okay. Well, maybe we can make that happen here at some point today. All right. The Personal Ensign is the 9th race on the card today. Another Grade 1 race here. I mean, this is 5 horses, but my goodness, look at the odds. The thing's loaded. There's one long shot, if you would, with Crazy Beautiful. But otherwise, if you just look based on the odds here, we've got 4 horses that are going to be packed together in the stretch. Is that how you see it, though?
Well, first of all, I know there's a lot has been made about the small fields at Saratoga's in these stakes races. This is the best 5 you could ask for. So there's no short of quality in this race. I feel like Malafat has kind of been a horse who's taken a step back now that she's 1 year older from 3 to 4. Having said that, I'm jumping on her today because I think everyone is been cooling off on her, and Clairiere has gotten the better over the last couple starts. I know her trainer, Todd Pletcher, was not happy with the way she was acting in the paddock before her last race, which could be legitimate, maybe not, who knows. Having said that, though, she still lost, a half length or something? Like, it was not a huge margin that she lost. It wasn't like she lost by this huge margin despite that. So if she's on her A game and on her toes in the paddock, I think she can make up that difference. So for me, I'm going to go back to Malathat. Hopefully she can turn the tables on Clairiere.
Yeah, and it's important, as you're watching the races, if you're not here at the track, take a look at how Malathat's acting in the paddock, right? If she looks a little agitated, if she's sweaty, if whatever it might be, if she seems to be acting off, that might be another sign that maybe there's something isn't right. Because I agree with you, she was so good last year. It's kind of been disappointing. I thought visually, she was going to roll by in the Shuvi, right? It looked like she just had the race set up perfectly for her. So, so Malathat's an interesting one. I'm not going to pick her to win. I'm going to go with Watruska. Look, Watruska to me, there are two bad races for Watruska. Everything else is spectacular. It's the Ogden Phipps and the Breeders' Cup Distaff. The common thread between those two races, third race off a layoff, she really and she was tested, hard in the Apple Blossom. And the same thing last year when she was here in the Personal Ensign, she was tested hard. And then, so those were max exertion races. She gets tired, third race off the layoff, she just doesn't have it and gives it up late. She comes in fresh. She always runs well fresh. I think she's pretty clear-cut speed, especially with the added distance. She's going to get to the front, not going to face as much pressure. And I actually like Watruska by open lanes today. I think Watruska is probably my most confident play of the day.
Ooh, okay. We don't do best bet here, but I like that you just kind of walked us into that ones. If you're looking at the card, everybody, and you're going to the window or you're on your Naira Bets app, whatever it is, look at the 9th race. Dan likes Watruska with his greatest confidence of the day, which I think is, I love that, man. You
clip this, they troll me later. Yeah.
Watruska is a horse in this small field that you can make some money on.
Yeah. No, and I think she's going to be as good a price as you're ever going to get, because to Billy's point, it's quality top to bottom, and I can make cases for search results. And Clairiere, as you mentioned, who's kind of like the horse who's been in form, right? So, but yeah, look, if I'm going to play an exact, I do like his horse. So I like Malathat to round out the exact.
Billy, is that kind of the theme today, that in a lot of these grade ones, we can make a case for 3, 4, maybe 5 horses in the bigger fields anyway?
I think you can. I think the Travers might be 2 or 3, but these other races, with the exception of the race that Jackie's Warriors, and of course. Yeah. But other than that, it's pretty wide open.
Okay. Your thoughts on Watruska?
No doubt.
Where does she play for you?
Well, she's going to go to the lead. My thing is, her last race was just so bad that for me, it's tough to forgive that. And look, she is lone speed, and these other 4 horses, their jockeys might just kind of take back and think they're going to get there, and then the wire comes and Watruska is still there. That's happened plenty of times, as you and I have both watched before. So that could happen. I like to kind of find horses where the public is getting off of them, and I want to find reasons to get on them. And Malathat to me is the perfect horse for that kind of handicapping in this spot.
Okay, Malathat at 5-2. The Sword Dancer here. When Dan and I were texting earlier in the week, he said, "Hey, are we going to focus on all of the grade ones?" I said, "Well, why don't we do the 4 go, right? Because how do you ignore Jackie's Warrior? And then you have to do the Jerkins because of Jack Christopher. And then let's talk Personal Ensign, because that's always such a huge race on this day. And then obviously we'll spin things ahead to the Travers." And he texted me back with emojis. No Sword Dancer? I said, okay, let's do the Sword Dancer too. If you guys want to get deep into the program, let's do it. If you want to cover all 5 of them, I'm here for it for sure. Let's talk about the 10th race on the card, and that is the Sword Dancer Stakes here. Again, bunch of horses, right, that I feel like you could make a strong case for here. Dan, who's your favorite in this, aside from what the odds makers tell us?
First of all, I just want to say I'm not a big emoji guy. But the opportunity to use a sword with the dancing guy, you had to use it. And I thought that we had to talk this race because this is probably the most fun betting race in this late stake sequence. So once again, I think every race is like a puzzle. You got to look at how it's going to potentially unfold with pace. Will there be a lot of pace up front? Will horses be going at each other? And I think this is another instance where on the turf especially, you could steal a race. You want to be on the front. You want to save ground on this turf course.
Come on, right? Give me the horse that I like here. I'm
giving you Tribhuvan. I'm giving you the 7. It's not that you're on Channel Maker?
I am.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I think you can be interested in both of those horses. And you could hope that one or the other potentially doesn't break as well, or for whatever reason gets caught a little wide, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of consistency, Tribhuvan is the horse who, to me, looks the fastest, who always breaks the best, and I think is most likely to get to the front and be able to settle down in sort of a comfortable lead. With Channel Maker, you sometimes get some uncertain breaks, and plus with the 9 post, is gonna have to do a little bit of work early.
Yep.
And not that Tribhuvan has drawn the rail. I mean, he's the 7, but I do think Tribhuvan goes to the front. And look, I've got some contingencies here. Like, I like Tribhuvan. I don't love 5-1. I'm hoping I get a better price off of the 4th place finish in the United Nations, which, by the way, I thought he ran a really good race in the United Nations. He was second up until like the final, couple of strides, and then just a couple of horses passed him late. He's really game. He's rounded back into form. I like Tribhuvan. But if the pace does get hot, if those 2 horses do go at each other, there were a couple of horses. Gufo is a horse I've never liked. I've never been on Gufo because you got to just pray that, he gets the trip. He gets the trip. He's able to close, not run into traffic, all that. But he likes this race course. He's more likely to get set up here than he has in his last 2 races. So I like Gufo a little bit. And then you got to talk about the European horse, Broom. They talk about this horse like they talk about some of the best, turf runners that come over from Europe. Aidan O'Brien finished second in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year, and then went to Ascot, won a big race there by open lane. So Broom is a scary horse. I'm going to play against. I think the price is going to be short, but I don't know.
Okay, so you just named what, 4 or 5 horses? Dan just named a few horses. My top 2 picks are neither one of them.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I do agree with you in terms of saving ground in a race.
Are you going to give us Rock Emperor?
I'm not going to give you Rock. No, I'm not going to give you Rock Emperor. Mirror Mission on the outside.
Okay.
The reason why I like this horse a lot is Ian Wilkes is always under the radar here, and I love betting him here because he's not Pletcher, he's not Brown, but he has good horses, and he's bringing the best of his barn to Saratoga.
Yep.
The horse ran a mile last time and was inside.
Totally.
This horse likes a longer distance and is going to be outside. Now, to your point, he's not going to save that much ground, being the 10 post going into that first turn to start the race. Having said that, Julian Leperoux, I hope he drops him over to the rail, sits back. He kind of gets disregarded. And again, I'm sensing a theme with my picks today. A lot of late runners, a lot of horses not going to be speed. So Mirror Mission getting out to this 1.5-mile distance, 12-1. Nice lead into the Travers. And then Adamo on the rail for Chad Brown is another horse I like in here who's been very consistent. Flavian Pratt, who you talked about, Dan, before. I think he's the best grass rider in the country. So I like inside Adamo, outside Mirror Mission. Yeah. So we like them all, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good luck.
And you like
there,
the other
everybody.
2 horses.
Yeah. I like Channel Maker. Let me ask this question about the turf, because people who come specifically to Saratoga, they look at the turf and they'll either look for Chad Brown's name or they'll look for a horse from Ireland.
Yeah.
Just in general today, do we like Chad's horses on the turf today?
I think so. I mean, I think you always have to like Chad's horses, and there are others in here that I'm sure I overlooked here that are like Rock Emperor, who you mentioned, is another one who on talent, if he gets the right trip on his best day, could win this race. So yeah, I mean, look, I think Chad is always a threat. I think his better horse here is Adamo, the horse that you mentioned, and that's a horse, again, talking about where you want to be on this turf course. You want to be on the inside. Adamo breaks from the rail. Last few races has kind of stuck to the rail. Pratt has a really good rapport with him. My only question with Adamo is that, he's been up against Tribhuvan. He's been up against Mirror Mission even. He's finished behind them. And his win came against Lesser Company, although he did beat Adamo did beat Tribhuvan in the United Nations.
Yep.
I don't know that he hasn't shown yet that he can hang with some of these tougher horses. So that's my only question with him. But I don't know. How do you feel about Chad at this point? Obviously,
no. You have to respect all of his horses, especially on turf. And he could very well win the Sword Dancer and then wheel right back 20-30 minutes later win the Travers too. So he's in for potentially a big day today with all these stakes.
Totally.
All right, Sam is watching. He's ready to have. So I guess he'll probably be watching at home. Our buddy Nick Bernardo's here as well. He's in the background. He's watching still. And we'll shout out the Novice Clothing Company crew here for a bachelor party. Jake Bernardo, one of their brothers, getting married at the end of the year. They're going to have a heck of a time at the track today. All right, one last time out here. When we come back on Onorato and Company, the breakdown of the Travers. We've saved plenty of time for that to look at this 8-horse field. 3 of them from Chad Brown. So just sheer volume aside here, this is his best chance to win because he's got 3 of the 8. We'll see if the guys agree that this, in fact, is Chad Brown's best chance for his first Travers victory. Back right after this on Onorato & Company.
Alpenhaus RV is celebrating 58 years of family fun and camping during our anniversary sale. Shop big anniversary savings on an even bigger selection of RVs. Choose from new 2022 Avenger travel trailers for $194 a month and new 2022 Colorado travel trailers for $228 a month. Plus, all 2020 and newer RVs come with our exclusive lifetime warranty. Proudly serving you since 1964 and generations to come. Don't miss our 58th anniversary sale at Alpenhaus RV.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Live from the Horseshoe Inn Bar and Grill, Chris Onorato, Dan Tordjman from America's Best Racing, Billy Blake, you hear him on the radio, WGY in the Capital Region. Finally, we've reached the point where we talk about the Travers. Everybody comes to the track today specifically for the Travers. That's why they're going to test that 50,000 person capacity at Saratoga Race Course. They drew more than 44,000 last year. And that was when people were still cautious about COVID. And that's still a big number. But in fact, it's the smallest attendance, guys, since 2011. So there's not a big gap between 44 plus and 50, but they've squeezed in odd numbers between 2011 and 2020. They're going to get close to 50 today. I don't know that they're worried about having to turn people away and selling this thing out, but this will be the most elbow room you've had all day. Let's just leave it at that.
And I want less. I want Billy closer. I want Billy, come on in, man. It's been a long time.
You guys haven't seen each other in a while.
No, we were just chatting. Pre-pandemic, I think. So it's been a couple years.
I've seen Billy at St. Rose probably most recently.
Yeah,
and Dan, you before that at Whitney, but before the Whitney weekend, it was pre-COVID. At
least 2 or 3 years. Yep.
Yeah, so it's great to catch up with you guys. All right, everybody wants to know who the heck is going to win the Travers Stakes today. I said it just as we were catching up before the show. I've had experts all week tell me, hey, could be early voting. But maybe Zandon kicks in the door today. Finally, he's been knocking on it. How do you overlook Epicenter? Oh, by the way, Cyberknife is the only horse in the field that has 2 Grade 1 victories. But maybe I'll take a shot with Artorias because 2 turns, he looked really good the last time we saw that.
The Derby winner, by the way.
Yeah, Rich Strike. Rich Strike will take some money today, right? Just because people want to bet the Derby winner. I also had a fan tell me in the backyard this week, too. I love coming on Travers Saturday because there's so many casual and maybe even non-fans who just want to bet the color of the silks, the number of the horse, the name of the horse. And he said, I feel like I can get real value even on some chalk on a day like today where there are a ton of casual and maybe even non-fans. Travers Stakes, one of 5 Grade 1 races. We've already said that. This is a great stat I love from Daily Racing Form's David Grenning. The jockeys are 0 for 32.
Oh, wow.
The trainers are 1 for 31. And the only one on the training side came last year with Brad Cox. So there isn't a single jock in this race that's won the Travers before. And Brad Cox is the only one, Billy, who's won it as a trainer. You and I chatted about this stat. We were both blown away by it. Here is the field overall, guys. We'll take a look at it here if I can call it up quickly enough. I got it here somewhere. Hang on. Stand by. Here we go. Here's the Travers field today. The one post is Cyberknife. Rich Strike, the Derby winner. 8 Life Grand. Gilded Age. Can one of those horses sneak into a try to win us a little bit of money? Artorias, Epicenter, early voting. And I always say Zandon. Chad Brown says Zandon, so I guess we should trust the trainer here, Zandon. Give me just a little overview, guys, before we give our picks in terms of the depth of this field and the talent of this field, Dan.
Yeah, so obviously it's an extremely talented field that you just kind of, rattled off some of the credentials. And by the way, a short plug here, you go to americasbestracing.net.
Do it.
We have our Travers Stakes cheat sheet presented by Naira Bets, and it gives you just a quick snapshot of each horse. It tells you their pedigree, it tells you what their accomplishments are, and just in one paragraph, you'll get a sense for whether or not you want to bet the horse. So check out that cheat sheet on America's Best Racing.
On Twitter at ABR Live.
My man.
There you go.
So yeah, and and the way you've kind of said Zandon, it makes me think that you're a little skeptical that he's ever going to break through and he's ever going to beat Epicenter. But that's kind of where I landed. I mean, I can just tell from your tone, like you're not convinced.
Yeah.
For me, everyone will say, look, the Jim Dandy, he had every shot to win. But and he didn't. I actually love the race he ran in the Jim Dandy. It was his first race since the Derby. Today, the Travers obviously being the main goal, he's not going to fire his biggest shot then, right? So I like it from that perspective. I also like it from the perspective of he's not usually as forwardly placed as he was there. So they tried somewhat different tactics with him to see how he would do. And I think he did pretty well. I mean, again, he got beat by Epicenter, who to date is the most accomplished 3-year-old. Granted, doesn't have that second grade one, as you mentioned, with Cyberknife. But in terms of, he's had a lot of hard luck.
Yes.
I think on talent, I think on accomplishment, Epicenter is the best horse in this race, hands down. If you're just looking for a safe bet, go with Epicenter. I'm not looking for a safe bet. I'm looking for a little danger. I like Zandon. I think his second race off the break, I think if he improves, you see the buyers where they are. He came back, posted his first 100 buyer speed figure. If he could bump that up just a little bit, could get up to a 103, 104, and if Epicenter could just be a touch off today, I think could be his day. Epicenter, by the way, hasn't done better than a 102. He runs the same race every single time. He has 3 102 buyer speed figures in his last 4 races. So I'm Zandon.
All right, before your trifecta, which we'll get here in a second, Billy, your thoughts just on the field overall. People, look, we have the Derby winner, we have the Preakness winner, we have the Dandy winner. Yeah. I don't know if there is like that superstar name that people will be drawn to this race for that reason in particular. We've seen those names they'll lose on this track before. In terms of the depth of this field, how good is it?
It is a very good field. Of the 8, I think you can make a case for half of them in terms of winning. And trying to think of like a sports analogy for Epicenter, because I think a lot of people within racing, and Dan, maybe you agree too, Epicenter is probably the best 3-year-old right now, but he doesn't even have a grade 1 win to his resume yet. It'd be like that football fan whose team makes the playoffs every year, but they lose in the first round. Like they don't have a championship that you can really, back.
Feels like you're taking a shot at the Packers here. I don't appreciate it.
No. They'll get one. So I think, having said that, I think this race, if I'm Epicenter in the connections, I think this race is very simple. Go to the lead and don't look back. I think he's the best horse. And the Jim Dandy was weird. In a 4-horse field, he sat back and rallied by the other 3. I think this horse just has the pace advantage. Go to the front and just kind of run the rest of the field off their heels and get that grade 1 win. So to me, the race revolves around Epicenter. And I think at the end of the day, he finally gets that coveted grade 1 win.
Here's the question from Ashley. Who goes to the front? Is it Epicenter?
I mean,
says yes. Dan?
I was going to say early voting. I think early voting, his best races are when he's on the front end or very close to it. I can't see him sitting off. I mean, I can't see Jose Ortiz being, let's try something completely new today. Unless he thinks, maybe I can, kind of sit at the throat latch of Epicenter, maybe just sit maybe half a length off him and then do something.
I love you, but I disagree with you. I think because I think early voting's Preakness. He was able to sit off a horse and still win. Granted, it was the horse in the Preakness that was on the lead was a long shot. I don't even remember the name of the horse, but I think early voting does better when he has a target. Yeah. And so for early voting's case, it actually would help him for Epicenter to go to the lead. Having said that, I think Epicenter is more talented than early voting. Yeah. And Zandon, I think, is that horse underneath who I like.
I had Anthony Stabile from Naira and Fox Sports tell me, because the track has changed dramatically from opening day, he thinks it's a lot faster now than it was, that he thinks that favors early voting. And so, but again, Anthony's one of those guys a few days ago who said to me, in 72 hours, I could completely change my mind. I could give you 5 horses now, and that was on a Wednesday, that could win, and that's how early voting kind of entered his conversation here. Hang on a second. Jim, Sam says he likes Zandon. Is he going to get 5-1, though?
I think he might, because I mean, you also got Artorias, who you mentioned is sort of the up and coming horse coming off the Curlin win. Somebody was mentioned the other day, I think, that the last horse to do that double, win the Curlin, and then come back and win this was VE Day. So it doesn't often happen. I mean, what was that, 2014?
2014.
That was a Jerkins double.
That's right.
That's right. And that was also, I mean, like, look, I Epicenter is potentially in a class of his own here. So I don't know. I do think that, like, they'll both take money. And to your point with early voting, I get it. Like, I mean, I don't think he absolutely has to be on the lead. It just seems like that's what they do with him so often. And, you know, he's putting up like 47 flat, 47 1/2, which is pretty fast for this distance. I mean, if he does that today, he's going to be on the lead. Now, if they decide strategically his best race is just sitting right off of Epicenter, then, you know, but we'll know within, 10 seconds of the race starting. And the other horse to talk about, obviously, is Cyber Knife. I mean, going into the Haskell, he was a bit overlooked. There, it was Taba and Jack Christopher going along for the first time, so not exactly Epicenter and Zandon. But you can't deny, I mean, this horse, the longer he goes, the better he looks, with the exception of the Derby where he had excuses. So he wins the Arkansas Derby at 1 1/8. He wins the Haskell at 1 1/8, and
Can he go 1.25 miles?
I mean, he's doing it sort of drawing off, right? He's doing it kind of, what visually looks like a lot in the tank. I just don't know if he's as good as Zandon and Epicenter.
He breaks from the rail, which he did in the Haskell. So I think that's key. The fact that he's already won a big race from the rail. And he did it in track record fashion, by the way, at Monmouth when he won the Haskell. Cyberknife is like all or nothing to me. I think he wins, or I don't think he's anywhere. Because when a horse runs that hard and fast last time out, it can be real taxing, or they build off it even more. So I'm either all in, or I'm either putting Cyberknife on top or not at all. Okay, that's my strategy.
It sounds like not at all.
Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it? All right,
not to foreshadow too much of the picks here, the big reveal.
You see the picks.
No, let's find out. Let me ask you, though, about Artorias, who we haven't really talked about here. And everybody says if a Chad Brown horse wins, it's probably, I know we talked a lot about Zandon, but Artorias has been very impressive in his build-up, looking to do what Arrogate did, right? Third race and kind of just blowing away maybe not the field, but certainly the audience in terms of, oh my goodness, did you see what this horse did his third time out? Can we make a case for Artorias?
I mean, we could.
You don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to. Look, it's just at some point when you're handicapping these races, you've got to find like small blemishes with some of these horses, or you've got to find. This is a huge jump in competition. I mean, this is, really like going from
the deep end with no floaties.
Yeah, it really is. Like, you're not jumping into like a grade 3 or a grade 2 here off the curl, and you're jumping into grade 1 with what looks like 2 or 3 of the best horses in this division. He might be good enough to hit the board. I would be shocked if he won this race. I don't know.
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get into the picks here then. Dan, this is your trifecta. Mine is on the left. I would say completely disregard it based on the conversation we've had here. But Dan, these are your picks, your trifecta. If you were to just pick them straight, which I forced you guys to do, of course, there's so many different ways to box and that include more than 3 horses if you do box a trifecta. But give us your thought process behind the top 3 here.
Yeah, I sort of had a vision of this race unfolding with early voting going to the lead, with Epicenter kind of being, having to go at him maybe a little earlier than he wants to kind of keep him close, maybe using himself up a little bit early, and Zandon, kind of sitting just off of them and then looping Epicenter late. And then I think Cyberknife will save a ton of ground on the rail. We'll have plenty of horse late. Distance is no issue. I just don't think he's good enough. And so I think he finishes third behind them. But, the case you made with early voting is fair. And, I think there is entirely a scenario in which if they decide to change tactics, early voting potentially could hit the board and could maybe win. Again, if Epicenter and Zandon are just not on their A game, there is a potential. So early voting would be, that would be the horse I'd be scared of who I haven't used.
Okay, and I obviously included early voting on the board here. I'm buying into the fact that he's got speed and this is a faster track. I'm buying into that he is on the early lead and that he just somehow ends up in the mix on the board here. Cyberknife, look, I don't know. The rail, it's Brad Cox. I'm gonna bet on that no other trainer that is yet to win this race is able to win this race. He makes it 2 in a row after Essential Quality last year. And then I've got Epicenter as a bridesmaid again. And this would be his third second-place finish in, I'll call, a quote-unquote major race, right? 2 Triple Crown races, and now here at the Travers.
It feels like he's going to finish second. I mean, I don't know. There's some. It's just like with sports, right? Like the Mets are going to blow the NL East. Like you know that Epicenter is going to finish second. It's just something from repetition. Like you've seen this movie before, so.
Well, I was going to say the Yankees aren't that far behind either with the second
half
of the
division.
Yeah,
well, they'll probably hang on, but it's been a rough second half.
Sure has. All right, Billy, let's look at your trifecta here, buddy. As I've said, Cyberknife is not really a super popular pick in terms of what I'm going with here. And I'm getting jammed up here a little bit with the graphics. But Billy's picks, here we go.
There we go.
You maybe see him at home. We weren't seeing him here.
So I went with Epicenter on top. I know Epicenter came off the pace in the Jim Dandy. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Epicenter just go wire to wire. And then Gilded Age. And this is not just because the show's been filming in the capital region, Chris. Hear me out on it. Because we talked about the pace in this race, right? Epicenter should be up there. Early voting should be up there.
He loves these deep closers today.
I'm telling you, that's his theme.
And Gilded Age was second to Arturius in the Curlin.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, after the Curlin, all the talk was about Arturius, and rightfully so. That horse went impressively. Gilded Age did not save any ground coming around the quarter pole, trying to close in on Arturius. And watching the replay a couple times, and maybe I'm crazy, and I've been called worse. Around the 16th pole, I thought I saw like the light bulb go off in Gilded Age's head, like, oh, I gotta get going, and kind of made up some ground late. I'm hoping that light bulb goes off a little bit earlier today and can get past them all except for Epicenter. That'll be a nice exacta if I can get it.
He goes from like 6th to 2nd in like 3 strides, which is impressive. So I agree.
So that's my play right there. Epicenter over Gilded Age, and then Zandon I think is that horse who's also going to be closing for 3rd. So Epicenter, Gilded Age, Zandon 1, 2, 3.
And Gilded Age is 30-1 on the morning line. Longer shot by post time, no? Do you think he gets bet down though?
No,
longer, right?
I think it'd be about 45-1. You're looking at probably 45-1 at least, maybe even
will be the longest shot in the race. But Saratoga, Great Barrier champion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd be shocked if he won. I think visually the move that Billy is referencing from the Curlin was a nice move, but I would say the same thing about him that I would say about Arturius, which is that was just a different caliber of horse. Whereas some of the horses that Gilded Age was passing late there, we're just tired and gassed. I think you'd have a harder time running past, horses the like of, Early Voting and Cyberknife. So that's my only concern with him. But if he is actually an improving horse, he's a little light on speed figures. But it's Bill Mott. He's done crazier things, right? So who knows? I like it, and I think realistically, you got to approach this race one of two ways from a betting perspective. You either need to find a long shot that you like and build some exactas or trifectas. Or if you're just going with 2 chalky horses like we are, essentially, you got to just hammer it in like a cold exacta. So if your budget is $20, you bet a $20 straight exacta, or you bet like a $15 straight exacta and $5 the other way around. Just something where you can get the maximum payout for your opinion with shorter price horses.
How much total money will you guys bet today?
Oh, come on. My wife's watching. We're not going to do that. Come on.
All right. How much total money will you win today?
Okay. That's a better question.
Better question. Yeah.
And I'd be happy. I'd be happy, like literally coming out with maybe $100 or $200 ahead. Already on the walk over here, like a couple of people I ran into, like, hey, who do you like to? It's just one of those days where really it is like it's about the experience. Yes, there's some great wagering opportunities, and if you've got strong opinions, hammer them. Like, I told you I like Watruska a lot. I'm going to see what price Watruska is. I might, make a stop at the ATM. I need to hammer that opinion if the price is right. So if you see that today, take advantage of it. But also, don't forget to take a deep breath, take a step back. And just, recognize what a beautiful day this is out here and how amazing it is that we get to be here.
You've got the Saratoga and Travers red on. You are ready for the day ahead, guys. This has been great, man. Thank you for joining us here. Billy went Gilded Age as a long shot. Dan, if you were to talk yourself into a longer shot to hit the board, I'm not going to ask you for 30 or 20-1, but if you like Ain't Life Grand or Gilded Age, even if you were to take the Kentucky Derby at 10-1, or a horse that, you had early voting, and maybe early voting doesn't go off at 8-1. Maybe you're going to get a better price on early voting.
It could be. I think people are going to sleep on early voting off the Jim Dandy. I mean, like when you have a horse finish 4th in a 4-horse field when they were essentially loose on the lead, You get, again, first race back from the Preakness, though. He's off a pretty long break. The same case I made for Zandon. That was not the ultimate goal. The Jim Dandy, over and over again, year after year, is kind of a wacky race. Yep. It's always a smaller field, at least in recent years, it's been a really small field. I'm not saying you throw the race out, but I could see early voting doing, and again, just the case you made now has got me. I don't know whether you meant to talk me into early voting. I don't think you did, but that pace scenario would potentially benefit him. In terms of like a long shot, I would go, of the horses 10-1 and above, I would go with Rich Strike. Look, the horse would have no excuse for being fresh or not. I don't think he's, of the caliber of some of these horses. I would have been a little more interested, I think, like, if it rained, I think he might have been done better on and off track. But I don't know where that pace, he had they went 45-1 to the half in the Derby. That's like silly. That's
not going to happen
silly
again.
Time.
Yeah.
No, they're going to go. I mean, the hottest they go here is like 47 and change, more likely 48 flat. That's 3 seconds slower, and that's 3 seconds fresher. Those horses up front are going to be, who are already better horses than him. So he needs something kind of absolutely chaotic to happen. So I think win or even finish in the top 3. But if I'm stretching, I could maybe see him finishing third if a couple of horses have a bad day.
Okay. You just saw Dan's picks one more time. Here are Billy's picks one more time. Have a great day at Saratoga Race Course, everybody. Good luck at the windows and on the apps. And guys, man, it's been great catching up with you. Dan, it's been so good to see you. It's been a long time. Good to have you back up in the 518 for a weekend. And Billy, man, always good catching up with you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. Onorato Company. We're back with the live weekly show Thursday morning right here on News Channel 13's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. Have a great Travers Saturday, everybody.